Hey everyone, my name is John and I have lived in San Francisco Bay Area since about 2012. I started working for Postmates and DoorDash around 2013. I've done 5,000 some odd deliveries between the two platforms, and I've also helped answer questions for both platforms from drivers on a regular basis. As a result of that, I've actually been featured in a couple articles, one with the SF Chronicle and two with NPR. So I have a good extensive background of working with these two platforms, and I wanted to talk today about four major changes that have been announced by Postmates slash Uber Eats in regards to how drivers are getting paid. Every driver will be impacted by this change no matter what in the state of California. For those of you outside of the state of California watching this video, I would encourage you to stay tuned because I do believe a lot of this stuff will impact you at a later point in time, depending on how it plays out with your state legislature. So that's something to keep in mind. But to paint a background story real quick, AB5 took us from independent contractor to employee. And then Prop 22 took us from employee back to independent contractor as a result of the November ballot being passed by 58% in the state of California. With that, Prop 22 had some other changes that have come into play, and we're going to talk about those four major changes right now. First and foremost, as drivers, we are now getting a minimum wage guarantee of 120% and mileage reimbursement in the state of California. So it's local minimum wage reimbursement. So I believe San Francisco's at 15, and I think most of California, Bay Area outside of the major cities is typically 12. And so what you're going to see is while active on an order, so the minute you pick up, the minute you drop off, not when you're driving to or from the locations, but the minute you pick that order up, so I pick up an order from Chipotle and I'm driving 12 minutes over to Joe and I drop Joe's food off. That time right there is guaranteed 120% above minimum wage. And on top of that too, I get 30 cents a mile driven. So that's considered active time by their standards. There is no limit on how much you can earn in that potential. So what this will do from a driver perspective, if you're looking at it, one, I don't think people are going to decline as many orders. I think there's really no reason for you to decline an order. I know a lot of us make, on average, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 range. But knowing that I can make at least minimal 15 to 18, depending on where I'm at in terms of the minimum wage rule or law that's going on there, I think it's going to make a huge difference if you're looking from the perspective of like a normal driver who is expected to get 8 to 10 deliveries. You might see actually a dip because most of the time when you're getting those deliveries, that means somebody else has declined them. But on top of that too, I think customers are going to end up having to pay just a little bit more for us to have that extra little benefit as well too. So that might deter some people from ordering as opposed to before, but we shall see. I think it's going to be an interesting new proposition, and I think it's for the best. I think a lot of us can easily say that sometimes those orders that we take just aren't worth it. Now, this is a Postmates Uber Eats policy update. This isn't anything regarding DoorDash, but I expect to see something very similar from them as well too. Going on to the next policy update, healthcare wise, if you have a qualifying healthcare plan, what's going to happen from that point on is that if you average 15 hours a week in a quarter, you will get a stipend for your healthcare plan that you're paying into. So let's define a couple things first. It's a qualifying plan. So what that means is you cannot be on Medicaid, Medicare, or an employer-sponsored plan. So for instance, I work part-time for Postmates and DoorDash. I also have a full-time job. That full-time job, I get insurance through them. I do pay out of paycheck, but that does not qualify for the stipend under this Postmates plan. Neither does Medicaid or Medicare if I were on that as well too. This would be a vendor that you're going through and paying with your own wages for your health insurance. You will actually get a stipend if you average 15 hours a week per week over that quarter. I would really love to hear from everybody when that stipend begins to release. Again, probably around March, I think, is the end of the quarter, the first quarter. And I would really love to see, how much people get paid out on that. Is the benefit really worth it? A couple things to note with regards to the minimum wage, with regards to healthcare. These are going to be taxed by the state of California and federally. So your taxes will increase with the result of these two things because they are earnings at the end of the day. Covering a couple of different other policies that have gone into place as well too. There's now an injury insurance protection plan that is going in place in California. Now this actually begins on December 16th, so that's tomorrow. So Postmates will provide Prop 22 based insurance protection coverage. I'll list a link below for the benefits amounts and everything like that. But basically, if you are unfortunately injured while working for Postmates, Uber Eats, you will actually have insurance coverage to help cover medical and loss of income expenses as well too. So overall, that's really positive. I mean, that's mainly something that you get from an employer. But this is an excellent benefit to drivers, especially those who, get involved in unfortunate circumstances as a basis of driving around and working for these platforms. Again, I think you'll see something similar come out with DoorDash. We'll see when that time comes as well, too. And the final little update that's going out here is there's a new approach to discrimination and sexual harassment. Basically, the new approach is this. If you're a customer or a driver, you can actually now report someone for sexually harassing or discriminating against you on the basis of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation, etc., marital status, whatever. Those protections will apply. So I know this impacts a lot of our female drivers because I've been on Reddit forums where, for whatever reason, guys feel like the delivery girl that just dropped off my Chipotle, I'm going to take my shot at her, right? Like I'm gonna chime in because she had to reach out to me to deliver my food, and now I'm going to fire off a text message to try to pick her up. Guys, don't ever do this. It's completely unacceptable. She's just trying to do a job. She's trying to do what she needs to do. And now, as a driver, you can file a harassment complaint against that particular customer and provide evidence to hopefully fix this going forward. I think it's great protection. It definitely helps out a lot of particular people. I know there are several instances that I've seen and heard of where folks are getting harassed on these platforms. And so I like this approach that Postmates is taking. I think overall the benefits are very interesting. I think it's going to be, dependent on your circumstances, of course, whether or not you find more benefit or less benefit from it. But overall, I would really like to see how everybody, thinks about this. I would like to also see some of the outcomes of this when we launch most of them on the start of the new year. Do you see a negative or positive impact on your earnings? Do you feel like you're earning more or less before they invoked the minimum wage guarantee earning and mileage reimbursements, or was it for the best or worse? I would really love to hear that and talk that out and see what the pros and cons are between everything. But if you like the video, great. I want to create some more content. I encourage anyone to essentially post some comments underneath if you have questions, general questions. Do you have a question about what happens? Why am I not getting tipped here? What's going on? I know a lot of people always ask a lot of questions regarding, base pay, or perhaps, what's the average that a person makes in San Francisco or LA or San Diego, as an example. I think being able to address and help answer some of these questions is something that Postmates, DoorDash, Uber Eats, all those guys are not going to do themselves. I think it's something that we can do through this channel, and I would certainly love to provide some more context with that. So if you do like the video, please chime in. I would love to hear some more comments, questions. Otherwise, stay safe and enjoy your day.